till now we have seen one-to-one relationship as well as one-to-many relationship, right? Now we will take it up the notch and we will see many-to-many relationship, right? So we will take one example and we will understand. Okay. So here if you see we have a student table and we have a course table, right? It is possible that a student can take multiple courses, right? Also, a course, one single course can be taken by multiple student, right? So to achieve this, what we use is called a bridge table, right? If you see here, we have a student table and we have a course table. Here, there is another table called enrollment, which has a enrollment ID, which is the primary key for the enrollment table, which maps student ID versus course ID, right? So if you see here, student ID 1 has taken course 101 as well as student ID 1 has taken course 102, right? Now if you see from here, 101 course is taken by student 1 as well as 101 course is taken by student 2. So one student can take multiple courses and one course can be taken by multiple student, right? So that is the concept of a many to many relationship, right? Now we will take example and we will dive deep into this one, right? So we will take an example and we will try to understand this, right? So I have created a authors table and I have created a books table, right? So the idea is a author can have multiple books, right? And a book can be written by multiple authors, right? Possible. So what we will do is we will execute this one and we will execute this one, right? Now I will try to create the bridge table, right? Which maps book ID with the author ID, right? So this is the books authors table, right? Which has a book ID and an author ID, right? Here, this is important. This primary key, right? The book ID can occur multiple times in the column, right? Because it's a many to many relationship. Similarly, author ID can also occur multiple times. But what uniquely identifies a row in this table is a combination of book ID and author ID. That's why this is a primary key in which the primary key is the combination of both book ID and author ID, right? Because these two column can uniquely only identify a particular row in this table, books authors, right? And we have a foreign key. The book ID is a foreign key to the books table and the author ID is a foreign key to the authors table, right? This foreign key relationship we have seen previously, right? So I will execute this one, right? Now here in the authors table I am adding three values, right? So I'll select all and run, right? I'll remove this one. Similarly, I am adding few three values into the books table, right? So I will select all and run, right? I have inserted data, right? Now I will insert some data into the bridge table, right? So if you see here, insert into books authors value book ID. This is coming from author ID, right? Book ID, author ID, right? So if you see this book ID occurs multiple times, right? That means this book is written by author ID 1 as well as author ID 2, right? And if you see author ID 1 has written one book as well as author ID has written another book 103, right? That's what constitutes the many to many relationship. A book can have multiple authors and author can have multiple books, right? So I will select all and run, right? I will remove this one. Now my book table exists in a different table, the author exists in a different table, and their relationship is maintained in a different table, right? Now what I have to do is I have to display the author ID with respect to the book ID or the author name with respect to the book name. Now since the data exists in three different table, I have to use two different joins, right? So we will check one by one how we will get the result, right? So my target is For each author, I will display the corresponding book names, right? That is what is my end result. So for that, what I will do, of course, I have to do select. Select what I will select. I will select authors dot author ID, right? And authors dot author name, right? Also, what I have to do, I will go into the bridge table, and for each author, I will try to print the book ID, right? So I will say authors books. Okay, it's books authors, right? Books authors dot book ID, right? Because I want to display the author ID as well as book ID. This book ID corresponding to the author ID is available in books authors table, right? So I will say from, right? I will have to join now authors, inner join books authors, right? On authors dot author ID equals to books authors dot author ID, right? Now if I run this one, there should be a comma here, there should be a comma here, right? So if I now run this one, you will see author ID and author name is coming from authors table, right? This book ID 101, book ID 103 is coming from books authors table, right? Because that's where we have the mapping, right? Now instead of book ID, I want to display the name of the book, right? So what I can do, where this value is available, this is available in books dot book ID and books dot book title, right? Now from where I will get this information, if I do another join of this result, right? So what I will do, I will say inner join, right? Books, right? On books dot book ID equals to books authors dot book ID, right? If I add this one, I'll get the book details as well, right? Now as per the requirement, what I have to do, I have to publish the author name as well as their book, right? So I'll remove other fields, right? This I added just for the reference, right? So author name and book title, right? Now if I run this one, if you see, John Doe has published two books, one book and another book, right? And if you see, Data Science Essential is published by three different authors, right? That's what this many to many relationship signifies, right? So I'll explain it again. Select, right? Author name and book title, right? Now I have to join two tables. One is author with books authors on author ID, right? With that I will get the book ID because book ID exists on books authors table, right? Once I get the book ID, I will join book ID with books table so that I can get its name, right? So I have two inner joins, right? Similarly, if I need, I can use left join also. If I have to publish all the author, maybe they don't have a book yet, right? In that scenario, if I say left join, we'll get maybe one or two values here, and maybe the book title will be null, right? We have already seen the usage of left join, right? So I know this many to many concept might be a little tricky, so I have come up with another example that I will explain, right? So here we have a users table and we have a products table, right? A user can buy multiple products, right? And a product can also be purchased by multiple users, right? So that's what I'm saying here. users table has a user ID and username. Product table has a product ID, product name, and price. Simple, right? So I'll create this user and I'll create the product, right? Now there is a table called orders, right? Now what does this order do? It has a order ID primary key. This user ID belongs to this user ID, and this product ID belongs to this product ID, right? This is the bridge table that creates a relationship between user and product, right? And we have a order date timestamp, right? And these two are user ID and product ID are foreign key to the product and user table, right? Similarly, I will execute this one also, right? So a user can have multiple products and a product can be purchased by multiple users, right? And here, what is the primary key? The primary key is order ID, right? Right here, this constitutes the primary key, right? Now we will insert some data, right? So we will insert some data into the users table, right? So I'll say execute, right? User table has some data. Product table also have some data, product ID, product name, and its price, right? So I will execute this one. Orders, right? This is the order ID primary key, right? This is the user ID, product ID, and purchase date, right? This is the user ID, product ID, and purchase date. So if you see, user ID 1 has purchased 2 items, right? And if you see here, product ID 103 is purchased by user 2 and user 1. That's what is, one user can have multiple products. One product can belong to multiple users. That is many to many relationship, right? So I'll execute this one, right? This being done, right? Now what I have to do is I have to display the user name as well as the product name that they have purchased, right? So I will say select star, will not do star, okay? Select, what I have to first figure out, user name, right? So I will say users dot user ID. Let us take user ID also, and we will display username also, right? Username, right? And what I have to display, the product ID that they have purchased, right? Because I don't have a direct relationship in which I'll get user ID and the product name that they have purchased, right? I have user ID and product ID in orders table. So for that, if I have to figure out the product name that they have purchased, for that I have to go to orders table, and for that user ID I have to get the order ID or the product ID, and again from that product ID I'll go to the products table and fetch its name, right? That will be the flow. So I will say orders dot product ID, right? From users inner join, right? Orders on users dot user ID equals to orders dot user ID, right? Now if I run this one, here I should have one comma, right? Okay, so I was getting that error because of the case, right? It should have been uppercase, right? Now if I run this one, what I will get, user ID, username, and its product ID, right? Now I have the product ID for a user ID and name. With this product ID, I will go to product table and try to fetch its name, right? So I will add comma products dot product ID, right? And products dot product name. What I will do, inner join, then what it will join on products, right? Inner join products on, right? On orders dot product ID equals to products dot product ID, right? So here the product ID and the product name, right? So I have two product ID, right? So I'll remove all of this. I don't need, and I don't even need the username, right? All I want is the user ID. I don't name. All I want is username and product name, right? Now if I run this one, I will see John Doe has purchased laptop. John Doe has also purchased smartphone, right? And also smartphone is purchased by John Doe and smartphone is purchased by Alice Johnson, right? That's what constitutes the many to many relationship, right? I hope that is now clear, right?